We're about to deep dive into a full diagnostic for this Sony TV. This TV is completely dead, so let's rule out each part until we find the culprit. With Sony sets, we most commonly see mainboard failures. To confirm this, let's check our output voltage from the power supply. The first pin I want to check is our standby voltage, which is 3.3 volts, and that is correct. It is our third pin down on the bottom row, and then we want to check our 12 volt line, which is pins 11 through 18. I can check any of them because they are in parallel, and we are getting 12.8, so that's also correct. So at this point, we've confirmed we are getting our 12 volts and 3.3 volt standby from the power supply to the main board. Our next step is to check a little further down the line, and we want to focus on the eMMC chip over here. The eMMC is the memory chip of the TV, so if it's not getting power, that would be a problem. We're looking for 1.8 and 3.3 volts. We should be getting 3.3 from these two capacitors up here, and we are, and 1.8 from these two down here, and we also are. Since we are getting power to the chip, our next step is to confirm if the chip itself is defective. For this next step, I'm going to pass the board over to my tech Juan.
All right, in order to test the functionality of the eMMC, we first must remove it from the board, and then we're going to go ahead and install it in our eMMC testing jig. All right, that's going to take 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and check back in with Nick.
With the main board out of circuit, I'd like to do a full functionality check on the power supply. So first, let's recheck our 3.3 volts. And we're getting about 3.5, so that's our standby, it is present. And the 12 volts is no longer present. I also like to check the T-Con 12 volts, which is all the way down here, and we also have 0 volts. And that's because the main board is no longer in circuit to send the signal on commands to the power supply. So our next step is to provide 3.3 volts to all of the on command lines. So in order to get the 3.3 volts to the command lines, we're gonna steal it from the standby voltage line. So I'm gonna put my jumper there. I'm gonna apply the 3.3 volts to the power on line. Right over here. That'll give us our normal 12 volts. We want our T-Con on command line to be activated. So we'll put one right here, T-Con on. And lastly, we want our backlight on, which is pin 2. Now that we have our connector all set up, we can power it back on. And I'm noticing the backlight is on, so something's working here. But we're gonna still do some voltage checks. So with the multimeter, let's check our T-Con voltage now. And we're getting 12.7. Our regular 12 volts over here, and we're getting 12.8. So all of the output voltages that we're expecting from the power supply are present. Let's do a couple of checks on the output voltages to the driver board. I do believe they're going to be there since our LEDs are on, and we're getting 35 volts. Again, these are all in parallel, so if one of them works, all of them will show that 35 volts. So we're all set there. And let's take a quick look at the screen. Because we're now able to get our color pattern test, that does confirm that every part in the TV, the screen, T-Con, power supply, LED driver, and the LEDs are all fully functional. So that confirms the main board must be the fault. So let's check back in with Juan and see where we're at.
Looks like we're just about at temperature, so we're ready to remove the chip. All right, we can now put the eMMC in our socket and we can check the condition. Well, it looks like the eMMC is in pristine condition. However, the software looks like it might be corrupted. So as we've determined that the software is corrupted, we're going to go ahead and install a fresh factory reset version of our software onto the chip. All right, it looks like it's finished writing all the partitions. Go ahead and take this eMMC out of here and reinstall it on the board.
All right, the main board's back in the TV, so let's power it on and see what we get. While I was getting our flash drive ready for the pairing, I noticed that our TV turned on. So we are still getting the amber green, which means the TV should not be turning on because the main board is not paired to the set, but it is. So we're gonna go ahead and pair it anyways and see what we get next. So we just finished the pairing and we're no longer getting the amber and green, so it looks like we have a successful repair. If you enjoyed the content, if you liked the video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.